These are the trademark images of Saudi Arabia. Peaceful and prosperous. A royal family in control. And this is what you don't see.
We felt that the last 3 or 4 years in the Arab world have produced an enormous amount of a number of voices that really we ought to hear. And if we don't hear those voices, we felt that we would not be able to understand what is actually taking place. We felt that a London audience would give those young filmmakers a wider platform to project their work and to explain what exactly they want to say. Those stories ought to be heard.
I'm suddenly emotional for no reason, which I cried a lot during making this film, so it makes sense that I cry now.
I'm Al-Ahmad, and I've come home to investigate a protest movement unprecedented in modern Saudi history. The film is about the past 3, now almost 4 years of an uprising in the in Saudi Arabia that has barely been covered, and I wanted to make it because within the context of the Arab Spring, or whatever it's called, since 2011, Saudi Arabia is always associated with the counter-revolution, right? Trying to stop other people's revolutions in the Middle East, and I thought it was really important to say it on the record, to have a piece of history, this film, to say that actually that Saudis did try to rise up.
القويشة وجه شاوي شاوي يا جزمة ولا يشاوي ولا القويشة بذهب القويشة بحدود باي من أبوكم ماشي يا شاوي.
I mean, the film itself and the making was impossible to make because we didn't finish shooting it actually and we were attacked a few times, so I think it might be a bit easier to make it now.
أكلكوا وأنت ما عندكش دم وما بتحسش؟ أخوك سايبنا وفاكراك راجلي؟ حد يعمل كده؟ سرقة دي كمان ها؟ سرقة؟
أنا رحت للشيخ جمعة ووافق إن هو يشغلنا عندي في المخزن البقال.
The film actually, as an idea, developed during a writing program that I was doing as I was studying at the London Film School, and I woke up in the middle of the night and with the idea in my mind, and I wrote it within a couple of hours. It was pure inspiration, but it was also driving from an experience in my life because I used to live in Cairo and my family was in Alexandria, and my mom had a lot of health challenges in her life, and every time I'd come home for the weekend and so my mother was very would get out of bed with difficulty and make sure that she would make the perfect meal for me. So the whole premise of the film is inspired by my mom and her way of expressing love through cooking the perfect meal. And it's about also another issue that doesn't receive enough coverage in the news or in films that I've seen, and it's the issue of prisoners who were taken in jail for so many years by the government without receiving any proper or ethical legal procedures, and then sometimes released, sometimes the families never see them again, and it's really about them, about their story and how difficult their lives are.
في مناطق ما زالت محافظة على تقاليدها وعلى إذا بدك قواعدها الاجتماعية قبل الدينية، وفي مناطق ومدن بالمدينة واحدة إذا بدك يعني أحياء بتكون حي أنت قادرة إنك أنت تمشي فيه الساعة 11 بالليل، وحي ما فيك بعد 8 تمشي فيه. هاي الحياة. هلا هذا التنوع نحن لازم نساهم إنه نكون معه ونحترمه.
Hassan's story seems to sum it up because on the one hand, there's the horror that such a wonderful young man would end up dead and in such horrible circumstances, and before that a victim of famine and bombing and everything else.
بس إذا المخرج ما فاضي. إذا المخرج ما فاضي.
There is a as well as all the chaos and nastiness in the Arab world at the moment, there is also a bottom-up cultural revolution. And I think that inevitably will become more and more visible as time goes on. I think the Arabs themselves will demand to be heard. They are demanding to be heard, and I think eventually they will be heard much more than they are now.
بنجد رجال أرادوا الجهل منهجهم واستخدموا الدين والقرآن أعذارا.
وبغرض تحويله إلى مجمع لإيواء النازحين السوريين من قبل الهيئة المذكورة.
هناك قدرة في المنطقة على الاستيعاب. عندما تصبح القدرة لا تتلائم مع النازحين، مع عدد النازحين، بصير مجتمعاتنا بخطر. نحن طالما قادرين بنستقبل.
It's good to see that there still is, like one of the panelists was saying, that there actually is a Syria between the regime and the Islamists, and actually a very vibrant and active Syria. And you can see that through the films they're doing, through the reports they're doing, through the cultural activities they're doing.
Well, I think that one important thing is to always kind of try to look at individual stories as part of the bigger picture. Too often I find that news reports focus on, numbers of casualties without really honing in on individual stories of individual people. And I think that those stories are what really bring a human element to the crisis that's happening in the region right now.
I think the similarities in all of the countries is kind of it's different, yet it's all the same. Like poverty is the same, but different in the way that it's tackled, the different because lifestyle is different everywhere. But poverty is poverty no matter where you go.
In illuminating different parts of the revolutions that we haven't been really aware of, and it just gives this personal and emotional touch to it, which is so beautiful.
في تونس أضرمت نار بلا حطب فجاءت الريح ألا تطفأ النار.